are in Atlanta, Georgia. Marshall Sutcliffe, I'm with Paul Cheon. And as you can see, outside of our studio area here, we have a full-on Magic Con happening. There's something for everybody here in Atlanta. Whatever type of magic you enjoy, you're going to find it here. It is incredible walking through one floor of multiple, by the way, and seeing all the Magic fans, the artists, you know, the people playing the tournaments, all the things going on at a Magic Con. It's really a special event, and we're super happy to have you along with us. We've got our first round of draft on day 2 here lined up, where we have Shuhei Nakamura. He is our undefeated player from yesterday. He's playing against Michael DeBenedetto-Plummer, who has a fantastic record as well, 7-1. And I see that World Championship badge down there for Michael as well. So an epic run for Michael, and they are going to face off in limited here. This is Shuhei's list. This is what we saw. A couple of things stood out. Overall, not the most powerful deck. There's a lot of just kind of filler level commons in here. Curve looks okay, but maybe could use a little work. We do see 16 lands on this side, and everything's focused in the same direction, which is just putting power and toughness on the battlefield and pushing it through for the victory. There's nothing fooling around here for Shuhei. Now, what about Michael? What did he draft?
Yeah, so Michael...
he's got a Diadrine also.
Yeah, he's got a Diadrine also, and big thing to note here is, by the way, Shuhei Nakamura was actually passing to Michael during this draft. So Shuhei, I don't even think Shuhei passed a ton of green cards, but and I'm looking at Michael's deck, and I don't really see a big reason why he should have been green here in the first place, unless he also first picked the Diadrine, something along those lines here. But this looks like a fine red-green shell splashing white. One thing that I'll note, though, Michael really is going to need those Sammy's Curiosity on turn 1, because he does not have anything to do on turn 2. All he's got is a Zookeeper Mechan, Diadrine, of course, with 1 planes, not realistically going to play that. And then Melded Moxide is also something that doesn't really play to the board. So this is the type of matchup that Shuhei probably wanted to play against when he drafted his deck. If he goes first, Michael's just not going to do anything until maybe turn 4 or 5 of the game. And by then, maybe Shuhei gets in 8-10 points of damage and can close things out.
Also, that was a 17-land, 3 Sammy's Curiosity list.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of mana sources. Those, you can find yourself flooding pretty easily. You know, maybe you ramp yourself up to one of the pinnacle kill ships, and then you're kind of like, go.
Right, and that's part of the reason why I think Simic as a ramp combination tends to perform better than Gruul, just because with all the landers, you also just have access to a lot more card draw with cards like the Biomechan Engineer and Cryogen Relic, whereas with Red, not as many ways to, you know, use those lands for, you know, late game plays and keep the card flow going.
Paul, I got bad news for us, by the way. You and I have become that person who has to shoehorn in something into every conversation, and for you and I, it's Biomechan Engineer.
Yeah, well,
like, I could be like,
so
hey, I got a new job, and you could be like, that's great, congratulations, I drafted 2 Biomechan Engineer last night.
Should we change it to Codecracker Hound?
Yeah, no, I don't want to change it.
Yeah, okay.
I was just noting. All right, we do have power and toughness on the battlefield here for Shuhei, as he's got the Blooming Stinger, and we did see that turn 1 Sammy's Curiosity there from Michael. So that is the start that Michael really kind of needs to see. It'll set up his mana well. Although, as we see, maybe he has a mountain in hand. He still doesn't actually have all 3 colors just yet. He wanted to keep the double green for his Broodguard Elite if he wants to cast that down the line, and he does have the mountain in hand.
This is a turn 3 Fungal Colossus here, which is going to make it pretty tough here. Michael can happily race at this point, sitting at the 22 life as well. So being on the play with the turn 1 Sammy's Curiosity and then a good turn 3 follow-up, that's exactly the type of draw that Michael wanted, especially for this matchup.
And Shuhei has not much to do this turn either. He's going to tap 3 mana to put a +1/+1 counter on Blooming Stinger, and frankly, that might just want to trade off if given the chance anyway.
Right, definitely not where you want to be here.
I am curious to see what Michael does here, because if you look at his hand, he's got action. He has a Nebula Dragon. He's got a Broodguard Elite.
And drew a Galactic Wayfarer here, which is also really nice against the Blooming Stinger. Right now, Shuhei Nakamura doesn't really have any spells or removal effects to get these creatures off the battlefield.
You see no attack there from Michael. Doesn't want to offer the trade. Just going to pass the turn back. Shuhei does finally add something a little beefier to the table, but you got to feel like that turn 3 Fungal Colossus was the kind of stop sign that Shuhei couldn't get past, and it may slow him down too much. Michael's sitting at 22. Wow.
Yeah, I believe Michael may have even drawn an Orbital Plunge here, and choosing not to go with that, actually wanting to really develop his mana, going with Zookeeper Mechan plus sacrifice the lander here so that he can try to set up for a Nebula Dragon, which would cleanly kill the Blooming Stinger.
Michael playing it very safely here. He does not block. He takes 5 damage down to 17. Of course, he's going to continue to use up his mana. He had the lander token there.
And has access to 6 mana now. He can find land number 7. I imagine Nebula Dragon would be heading the battlefield here. Even has a Shattered Wings if he feels like somehow the auxiliary boosters will help Shuhei get the final few points of damage in.
It's a good target, because that is the type of card that if this game goes long and Michael were to run out of gas, could be really annoying for him. Here it is. Nebula Dragon's going to kill the Blooming Stinger.
Now you attack for 5, and just look at how much power and toughness is on the board here. This is exactly what these ramp strategies want to do. Michael's got a Nebula Dragon and 2 copies of Pinnacle Killship. Get those things in play turn 4, turn 5. You know, any type of mid-range strategy is just going to have a really tough time keeping up.
Curious to see what he does with the Broodguard Elite this game as well. You know, the temptation, of course, is to try to get both halves of it, if you will, but it is a little slower. He has some nice targets, though, right? Just like put it on the Mechan or even the Wayfarer and just make some huge.
All right.
You could put it on the Dragon if you want to get really aggressive.
So there is a 4 or 5 flyer there, so Michael going down to 13, but he can also crack back for potentially a significant amount of damage. Got that Orbital Plunge, can go Orbital Plunge and also Shattered Wings, right? So you could even kill the Ice Cave Crasher, kill the boosters, or perhaps just the 3/3 creature, leaving Shuhei with just the 3/4, and then you can attack with the 5/5 and also the Nebula Dragon.
Yeah, Shuhei's not going to be feeling good about the way that this game's gone. A little bit of a stumble, a decent start for Michael, and he's just never been able to get a real foothold into this game. Yes, he has got him down to 13, but that was very much Michael's choice.
Right.
Looks like he's going to go for the Orbital Plunge here.
It looks like it. Feels like a pretty clean way to deal with the Crasher. I mean, you just basically get a 5/5 and a 4/5 flyer off the battlefield this turn. That is just so strong.
Jeez. Get himself a lander token.
Likely plays the land? Or maybe not. Okay, just actually attacking here. I guess if you wanted to cast a Shattered Wings, you can still wait. Yeah. Just kill the creature. Yeah. Shuhei's not really in a position to move the boosters and try to sneak in the final few points of damage, especially with Michael sitting at 13 life here.
Yeah, and Shuhei knew that was over about 2.5 turns ago. He's going to scoop him up at this point, though, and that is going to be game number 1 going to Michael DeBenedetto-Plummer, as he's sitting at 7-1 right now and looking to equalize with Shuhei. Shuhei will be on the play here. Can he find a better curve? So far, nope.
Nope. Nothing to play on turn 2 here.
Doesn't have that many 2-drops. That was one of our big complaints about the list.
Yeah, there's some 1s, and there is a Wormwall Sweeper that he would love to draw a Wormwall Sweeper off the top here. And Michael with the turn 1 Sammy's Curiosity. He's got 3 of them in his deck, but it's really, really important that he draws it, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, Michael's paying a price in the late game for having 17 lands, 3 Curiosity, but he is benefiting from it in the early game by being able to almost always use up mana on turns 1 and 2.
Right.
And his deck is not actually built to do that otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. But now he's looking okay. Shuhei didn't have the 2-drop here. He can now play a Tanic here if he likes. Get that rolling, and then now anytime he draws a Sammy's Curiosity, if he has a land in hand, he gets to use that to draw an extra card.
Yeah, Tanic very well supported in this list. There's Tanic in a life, or Ping a Life, I mean. Land number 4 here for Shuhei, and he has really got to get this rolling.
Yeah, Perhaps going to try to go for a double spell here to turn on the Brightspear Zealot. Currently, it's a 3/5.
He is doing it.
Warping it in, so now you can attack for 5 here, get some damage in.
17.
But it's an illusion because
Right.
both of those cards go away, and he still just has the one threat.
Exactly. The Brightspear Zealot, though, doing a very good job against the Radiant Strike in Michael's hand as he
Yeah,
has
that's
Vigilance.
really annoying. Yeah, this is very much a race.
Ooh. Look at this attack here.
What is this?
It's a cheeky attack. I mean, I guess he's thinking he's not going to block. Shuhei calls the bluff here.
Nice,
Michael has
Shuhei.
nothing. All right.
Michael went for the, like, I'm going to pick up my pen because obviously you're not blocking, right? And Shuhei's like, I've actually been playing this game for a really long time.
And little things like that is why Shuhei is considered one of the best limited players out there.
That's right.
Lots of people take that damage.
Definitely.
But Michael has no shortage of action here. Pinnacle, Killship, and an Anti-Causal Vestige, I believe, in hand.
And what did he just... Oh, and he drew the Vestige now. You're right. So he has to decide if he just wants the big body out there
I guess
with the
can't
later upside.
I guess can't cast the Killship just yet, right?
No, no.
Okay.
But he's 1 mana away.
Yeah, yeah.
And he can Vestige for the full amount or for Warp.
You have 2 cards. 3 cards. 2 cards.
He will not be able to put in one of the kill ships, though.
Yeah. Or could just maybe keep up Radiant Strike and just
He could do that.
use that to kill the worm.
Maybe that's a better... Because otherwise he would just have to trade the Vestige for the worm, which also isn't bad.
Right. And then I wonder, does Shuhei attack with the worm?
Yeah,
Right? If your
yeah.
opponent just passes with 6 mana up, do you just try to double spell and only attack with the Zealot and not try to run into Radiant Strike and strand all that open mana?
It's interesting.
All right.
Yeah, so Michael is going to go for the big 7/5. It just sits there for now. That was a Gene Pollinator, but we do see that Shuhei has Emergency Eject.
And
As much as you don't like to... I mean, that's really bad here. You're actually just giving him a straight-up card if he has a land drop.
yeah, and the amazing thing about the Anti-Causal Vestige is it puts a permanent into play, not just a creature. So if you kill this, Michael will draw a card, can put a land into play, which would then be a land number 7 to put the Pinnacle Killship from his hand onto the battlefield. So, you know, if you're Shuhei, you're like, well, I guess I just hope you don't have something big. Maybe I just fire off this Emergency Eject, get that out of the way, and just try to push as much damage as possible. But
he's setting up Michael for the next 2 turns of just kill ship.
right.
That's rough. It did feel, looking at the opening hands this time, that it was very much a race to, does Michael get to 7 mana? And that was before the Vestige, which is a really nice bridge between where he was at and where he's going. Shuhei really thinking it over.
Oh, excuse me. You can only, never mind. You can only put one thing in.
Yes, you put one thing in,
yeah.
but it would set him up for the next 2 turns.
Right, of course. So gonna go for it here and just hoping another big creature doesn't enter the battlefield here. Because if it doesn't, he does get a decent attack here, right?
Yeah.
And he's got the combat trick in hand, which can potentially threaten a lethal attack.
Yeah, I mean, it would come in tapped either way, so he's going to get this attack, but then it gets rough. Michael put that forest into play. And we do see the second spell there from Nakamura, so he just gets to jam with both with the bonus. And Michael...
I mean, this is a ton of damage. And you have to think also, if you're on Michael's side, it's like, am I really going to get more value out of this Tanic? I know there's a lander in play, but you really want to preserve your life total if you
I like
can.
Michael. He's like, yes, I am.
All right.
Yes, I am.
He's down to 4 life.
He probably just figures he can chump block later, but get the card first. That was 10 damage coming across, though. But now are we just going to see a parade of Pinnacle kill ships?
Yeah, that would deal with the worm.
He also could crack lander, get a card, and just lean on the Radiant Strike, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that would be the safer play here.
Give him a little bit of a buffer.
Right? That lets you not just die to perhaps a combat trick. Some kind of big pump spell. Dual Sun Technique, for example, that's sitting in Shuhei's hand.
Oh, yeah. Would be really nice if he found a 2-drop to play here too.
Yeah, Shuhei just needs, these next couple turns are just so big. Shuhei just needs to continue applying maximum pressure here, because if the game goes a little bit longer here, Michael's going to take over with double Pinnacle kill ship and that Broodguard Elite in hand.
Yeah, this turn sequence is going to decide this game for sure. If Shuhei cannot kill Michael, and Michael gets to start deploying multiple kill ships, it is really difficult for Shuhei to come back.
Yeah, I mean, given that Michael went for the lander sacrifice and didn't find something great, he's kind of committed to that Radiant Strike play here.
And he should just do it now?
Right. Yeah, just in case Shuhei has some way to save his creature in some way.
Right.
Or Shuhei could just not attack, right? And
right.
then your mana's even stranded there. We've seen Shuhei play around all kinds of tricks. Whenever you have open mana, Shuhei knows exactly what you could be representing.
He really does. It's uncanny. And people always are stumbled by it. He'll just be like, go.
It's
and
like
you're
he
just like,
saw
no,
my hand.
what? Like,
what is he doing?
I had it all planned out. Okay, he's going to go Drix, Fate Maker.
Oh.
That is...
Double strike trample?
Yes.
Wow.
It's not quite enough to win
enough?
that, right?
Because I have 6.
It's
Oh, that's
enough.
his second
It's
spell.
enough. Yeah.
That is enough because of the second spell and the Fate Maker trample.
Wow.
Double strike trample, huge.
That was a Fate Maker off the top that gave him that lethal attack,
Oh,
right?
was it?
I believe so.
I don't know if he had one in Warp. That was awesome from Shuhei, though. He does somehow scrap out a win. And that's with Michael playing it almost as conservatively as he could. The only other thing he could have done is chump block on that prior turn when he took 10. And once again, we see the turn 1 Sammy's Curiosity here for Michael. So that game plan has worked for him. Oh, but his hand looks much rougher than it has in prior games. He's got a Fungal Colossus, Diadrene, and this is what we were worried about when we saw his list, Paul. A lot of lands.
I mean, you're effectively playing 20 lands in your deck,
Right.
When you're playing the 3 Sammy's Curiosities, and you're really leaning on your 7 drops to kind of make up for the fact that you are playing so many mana sources. And Shuhei, with a beautiful curve here, 1 drop into 2 drop, does need lands here. So I imagine if it's not a land, he's just going to be surveilling those to the graveyard.
1 top. Oh, boy.
Is it a really good spell? Yeah, okay, because he's like,
Resolve.
ooh, yeah.
But he's going to put that in the graveyard.
Yeah, so based on this, we can assume Shuhei kept the land on top, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do next turn. He could play a Diadrene for 3 with the land, or warp in the Drix Fate Maker, and then now deciding, hey, do I want to station
Or
the
attack.
Wormwall Sweeper, or just attack?
It really matters.
Absolutely it does.
It really does. Like, if you decide not to attack there, you station, and then you play something with 2 power, or with 4 power that could have stationed anyway, you just missed a point of damage. And, you know, green-white is not known for having, you know, we call it reach, not blocking creatures with flying, but the ability to get incidental damage in to finish up a game.
And Shuhei's hand is loaded, but Michael does have, once again, a turn 3 5/5 in play.
This time, though, there's a Banishing Light.
I think he's playing a 4-mana Diadrene.
Okay.
So that's a 4/5, and it's not going to block. So I imagine he's just going to station the Wormwall Sweeper and turn it on so that it can attack next turn. So
Yeah. And this is where that point of damage, like, it was free if this sequence happened, right?
And now Shuhei also has that Banishing Light to clear the way, depending on what Michael plays. Okay, so now that's a 5/6. So Banishing Light's going to target that Diadrene.
Good target.
Pretty good. The thing is, even if Michael did have the Shattered Wings, the Diadrene would come back into play as a 0/1. So you're effectively just getting rid of it here.
Right.
Cracking it in for 7 here.
14.
And Michael does have Pinnacle Kill Ship, but can't play it next turn. Can run out this Drix Fate Maker. Might want to slow things down now that Shuhei did have that Banishing Light in hand.
Does Shuhei have a way to get a counter on another creature? He does. So next turn he can activate Diadrin too?
He could, or...
Although there is a 5/5.
Right, yeah, it's weird though because you also have 2 copies of Dual Sun Technique in hand, and maybe you would rather just have the larger creature just to push the final few points of damage in. It's very, very interesting here. He also has the Drix Fatemaker, so even if he does nothing, if he warps in the Drix Fatemaker, makes a 5-power Diadrin, if you cast a Dual Sun Technique, that's 10 damage just from the Diadrin.
He would need a land to do that.
Well, he does have the Gene Pollinator that he can use to tap the the Banishing Light, right?
Just tap the Banishing Light. Okay.
So
damage is adding up quickly. Shuhei's going to be thinking about lines of play that could get this game done in as early as 2 turns.
Yeah, Shuhei's going, please, let's just race.
Yes.
If you want to race, I am in.
Yeah, turn that thing sideways. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Yes, that's exactly what Shuhei wanted. There's 10. But he's going to have to be careful, though.
Right.
That is a lot of damage on the other side for Michael, too.
Yeah, I think Shuhei is going to try to set up some kind of a combo kill. The question is, does he have enough here? Not sure that he does if Michael just puts his creature in front of the Diadrin.
And the Vestige is such a sure.
Right.
Throw it in front, do your worst. I'm going to get something out of it no matter what.
Yeah, not too much can go wrong off of anything that your opponent can have. Yeah, this is really interesting. You could also maybe just try to set up for a lethal kill next turn. Maybe put a counter on the Wormwall Sweeper, right? That's at least damage you're guaranteed to be able to get through.
Shuhei's doing a lot of combat math right now, but it's not just combat math for this turn.
Right.
It's taking into account, if I push through this much damage, do I die on the crackback? I mean, he is at 10. Technically speaking, Michael does have lethal attackers on the other side.
Right, because what if, for example, you attack and the anti-causal vestige dies, then you can still put in the Drix Fatemaker, right? And that's what, 5 damage from the Fungal Colossus and 4 from the Fate. I guess that's technically not lethal, right? That's 9 damage coming in.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, imagine that scenario, and then he goes land kill ship on his turn, too. I mean, that's...
Right. Yeah, no, that's also big.
Like, that puts you in a very, very tough position.
You can also
go with the Fate Maker. Where's the counter going? This is really key.
Because if you put it on Diadrin and you cast Dual Sun Technique and he blocks with the anti-causal vestige, you can still trample over for 5 more damage. And get the vestige off the battlefield here.
Yeah, the Vestige just has to jump in front.
Yep.
There's the Dual Sun Technique. That's also an extra card there for Shuhei.
Absolutely.
So how much does he end up taking?
7, I believe.
So that's on first strike.
2 from the Wormwall Sweeper, and then 5 points of trample, I believe, off the Diadrin. Okay.
That's right. That's half of the remaining life total.
All right. And this is 9 damage coming in, but he does have a Gene Pollinator to also chump with if that's something that...
He could put it in front of the Fate Maker, I guess.
Yeah.
Take 6. He also has to be wary of Nebula Dragon.
Right.
Although he does actually dodge that bullet here.
But I don't actually think Michael found land number 7 here.
But he did find a Lash Whip Predator.
He did find
Does
a
that
Lash Whip
stabilize
Predator?
him? He can cast it.
It is a giant blocker here. Can cast it for 4, but also has a Radiant Strike too.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so that would also be really, really nice.
And that is a Plains underneath
I
those mountains,
think that's
right?
a Plains.
Yeah.
Because all the mountains are the same. If it is a Plains, then yes, you could just kill the Diadrin here. And that would be huge, right? Because all of a sudden you go up to 10 life and all you're facing is a Wormwall Sweeper. Uh-oh.
Wow, that's a big attack.
9.
And this is a situation where Shuhei has to decide if he wants to chump block on the Fate Maker. That would keep him out of Nebula Dragon plus land range. Does it matter if he keeps the Pollinator otherwise, I think is a real question here.
Yeah, like for example, what if Michael has a removal spell for the Diadrin? Can you find some way to get lethal damage through next turn? Probably not. Not through a Radiant Strike at least, right? Because even if you play Drix Fatemaker and then you play the Dual Sun Technique, on the Wormwall Sweeper, that's 6 damage coming in from that side, and then 2 points of damage coming in from the Gene Pollinator. So that would be 2 short of lethal. Now, if Michael has Orbital Plunge, then that's different. Then you would have lethal. You would have lethal. Assuming, but I actually, also Shuhei just doesn't even have the mana here to cast the Fate Maker and also play land and also be able to cast the technique.
He took it. He's going to go down to 1, and he says, go ahead, play land plus Nebula Dragon, but that is not what's happening.
Brutal.
But this might be just as bad. Can Shuhei eke out a victory here?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. That was an All Fate Stalker.
Oh!
Which is a very, very interesting draw here. Might want to get the Fungal Colossus off the battlefield here.
Wow, that's one of the best cards in his deck.
Absolutely was.
Diadrine and that one were the 2 big hitters that he had.
Then has 2 mana available. Can play out a Starfighter Pilot as well. And might not attack. Oh, choosing to attack. It's like if you have something, you have something. I can block with either, but you really don't want to block with the All Fate Stalker, right?
You don't.
So if Michael finds a land to kill something here too, this is close. He did.
So kill ship.
You can kill ship the Stalker, get your Fungal Colossus back, and then make a giant flyer here. Now it doesn't trample, but it is a 7/7 flyer.
And he chose to get that in the air rather than attack, force that trade. Emergency eject, that's actually a way to get out of this.
That was a huge draw. Oh my gosh. 2, 4, 5. If you use the eject and you have the double strike, he's 1 damage short, I think, of actual lethal. Because if you emergency eject the Pinnacle kill ship and then you dual sun technique one of your 2 power creatures, that's 7 damage. Wow. I mean, he is 100% going to use the emergency eject, but then he has to figure out what he needs to leave back.
By the way, go back to that turn 2. Remember, does the Pollinator get in?
Right.
It did. This is why every single point matters.
So if you commit to the emergency eject on the Pinnacle kill ship, probably attack with the flyer.
But that's the most you can do here.
Right. Get in for 6, and then you just pass. You could potentially use dual sun technique as a defensive trick. You could put it in front of the Starfighter Pilot when it blocks the Drix Fate Maker here. But there's a Lash Whip Predator in Michael's hand as well, and that's going to be tough to deal with too.
Really tough to get through all these blockers.
Yeah, Shuhei went back-to-back removal spells here, but Michael's had a lot of action, and he's still in a lot of trouble here, Shuhei is.
Yeah, Shuhei needs another one.
Yeah, might need to just dual sun technique here. Because if you draw a land and you play Drix Fate Maker, target the Wormwall Sweeper and cast dual sun technique, that's still only 6 damage, and the Lash Whip Predator would still be able to eat the Wormwall Sweeper. Okay,
he does have this to surveil to figure out what's on top.
Give yourself a little more information.
Well, he didn't put it immediately into his graveyard. Yes, your opponent's at 6, Shuhei. It was another Drix Fate Maker.
All right, actually choosing to keep the dual sun technique here. What can Shuhei find? Removal spell.
And he says, you win. Michael DeBenedetto-Plummer looks to the skies in relief because that was a torturous way to win. Yeah, I know how that feels. You know, when you're playing against a player as good as Shuhei, he makes it so difficult for you. You never feel like they're going to say, okay, fine, you got me.
Right.
Like, it always just feels like there's something else coming, and I'm never going to be able to actually get this game over the line, but Michael did.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and he even had just the ideal draws, and Shuhei's deck not so strong, but even then, when you play against somebody like Shuhei, you go, he's always got something up his sleeve. I am not going to be able to breathe a sigh of relief until it is all over. Michael had a fantastic draw, and just a really solid deck, too, overall, just really playing to his strategy. Of course, if he drew a bunch more lands and he was going to be in a lot of trouble. But that's the power of the big cards to ramp into. They put a lot of power in those 7-mana cards to make it worthwhile for you to put 18, 19, 20 mana sources in your deck.
That's right, and we did see that game plan work well for him. These players both are at the same record now. They only have one loss. They may even see each other a little bit further down the line. We're going to take a short break here from Atlanta. When we come back, though, we'll be back at the news desk prepping up for the second round of Limited. Don't go anywhere.